Hello everyone and welcome to this class. My name is Sandra Mertune and I'm going to be your instructor for this semester. But before we get started, I want you guys to learn a little bit more about me, who I am, where I come from, and why I'm so passionate about teaching and helping students succeed. So starting with my About Me section, I was born in Buffalo, New York. This second picture that you see here, that is me last year at the Niagara Falls. And my parents are Puerto Rican and Dominican. I am a first generation college graduate. And I also have two kids. I have my son that's 15 and my daughter is 13. And then I have my dog Ace that is 4 years old. I'm a realtor and an entrepreneur. And you'll get to know a little bit more about what I mean with entrepreneur. So I like to start talking about the different hardship or potential setbacks that I had growing up that could have hindered me from maybe getting the education that I have, the career, and just life itself, right? So I am the fourth child of a 19-year-old mother. By the age of 21, my mom had 5 children. I did not have my father around. I actually met my biological father at 30, but I did have a stepfather. I grew up in the projects in Buffalo, New York. My parents had no educational background, so that means after I hit first, second grade, I was on my own. I had no one to help me with schoolwork. If anything, I became my mom and stepfather's translator. My parents didn't speak English. My mother was disabled. My parents depended on government assistance. I still remember to this day, on Fridays, we used to go to like a homeless shelter, not necessarily a homeless shelter, but one of these kitchens where they give food for the community. And that was like the highlight of my week. And I can remember that I used to be like, oh, I can't wait till Friday so we can go to the kitchen. And now as an adult, I realized that we went to these kitchens because we couldn't really afford to eat as other people, right? I got kicked out of school my senior year. And it wasn't because of my grades, because I always had great grades, but it was because I went to a technical school and I didn't get into the technical program that I wanted for that in my senior year. They wanted me to wait a semester, but that semester was going to cause me to have to come back to finish a nursing program after I graduated, and I didn't want that. So because I didn't want to go into that program, they said this was a technical school and kicked me out. But that was probably a blessing in disguise. I've been living on my own since I was 18. I worked full-time while I was in high school. I helped raise my little sister. I worked 3 jobs while in college. So I used to work at Walmart overnight. I worked at Starbucks in the morning. And then I worked at Valencia later in the afternoon as a work-study student. And then I still did full-time classes. With all this being said, I had no one to help me, push me, or motivate me to go to school. So all of these things could have hindered me from getting the education that I have now. So I did mention a couple of my potential setbacks and hardships, but I also like to mention different accomplishments that I've had over the years. Now, these are just top ones that I put when I wrote this PowerPoint, but there's been a lot since. But I did graduate top 10% of my high school class. I did do enrollment at Valencia during high school. I was the first one in my family to obtain a degree. I got my master's degree before I turned 25. I was able to purchase my first brand new car at 24. Now, it wasn't no BM or no expensive car. It was like a Toyota Corolla of the year. But to me, that was something big considering that no one in my family has ever gotten any brand new car. I purchased my first home at 27, and at that time, honestly, it wasn't a big thing for me. But being in real estate now, I'm able to see how that was huge for me at 27 years old to buy a brand new 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,000 square foot home. That is huge. I have customers right now and in the past that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s that are buying their first home. So the fact that I was able to do that at the age of 27, that is huge. What else? I started my own baking business at 29. I was always passionate about baking since I was a little girl. And to be honest, if my parents would have seen that love that I had for baking as a child, that probably would have been great for me, and I probably would be like a pastry chef or something at this time. But I do love baking. It's something that started as a hobby and eventually became a business. I obtained my real estate license in 2019. I started a nonprofit organization also in 2019, which this one is a little bit on the standstill right now because I have so much going on, but I do try to do things to give back to the community. With the real estate, I won Rookie of the Year for the Kissimmee office. I won Rookie of the Year for the Watson in Central Florida. I got top sales producer a couple of times. I also did my professional teaching certification to teach math grades 5 through 9. And I've traveled around the United States and the Caribbean. And actually, this spring break, I have a backpacking trip to Europe with my kids, so I'm very excited about that. But you guys heard all the different potential setbacks that I had, but I was still able to accomplish a lot of things always, because I was resilient, right? I didn't give up and I pushed through. And I want you guys to think about this as you're going through your education journey, how I know it's hard. Everyone has a story. Everyone has things that they struggle with. But if you keep on and keep going and work hard, you will accomplish your goals. Educational background. I did graduate high school to 3.75 GPA. I was a dual enrolled student. Um, I did my AA in General Studies at Valencia and my AS in Business Administration. I went to UCF where I did my bachelor's in psychology. Then I went to Ashford University to get my master's in business. And other education that I've done along the way is my baking classes. I've done Valencia Educators Prep Institute for a year, and I did real estate school. Honestly, guys, when I was in school, I changed my major many times. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't have no guidance or structure, but it was the advisors at Valencia that kind of helped me determine what I was good at, what I liked, what I was passionate about, and helped me figure out how to go about it. And the reason why I got my master's degree was because I said one day I wanted to become a professor at Valencia, and I wanted to, what did I have to do in order to get that? And they told me I needed a master's degree, and I got that master's degree. And like I mentioned before, I was able to obtain that at the age of 24. My career path. So I started working very early while I was still in high school. I did housekeeping. I worked at Cinnabon, Starbucks, Walmart. Where didn't I work at, right? I probably any fast food you can think of, I worked there. But I started this slide on my career path starting at Valencia. So Valencia, I started at 2007. I was 19 years old, but I did the work study program, and that actually was the breaking point for me, or like the starting point, not the breaking point, but it was the point where my education started. It was the point where I got to know more of myself, more of what I wanted to do, and had so much help and guidance along the way that it was just the perfect way or the perfect place for me to start. But from there, I went to part-time admission specialist, eventually became full-time. And then in 2014, I had to leave Valencia because I got a position at a private university. And it was it was a leadership role. It was my opportunity to step up and, start with the career that I dreamt of. So I worked as an assistant registrar for about 2 years, between registrar and campus registrar. And although I loved my job, I didn't really like the company that I worked at. And eventually I decided that it was not for me, and I decided to become a teacher. That way I can spend more time with my children. So around 2016, I became a math teacher at a private school, eventually at a public school. And I did that for several years and I loved it. But honestly, the pay was not enough for me, so I needed something more. And because I was always passionate about real estate and I was always helping my friends and family buy homes, I took that opportunity to get my license in real estate. And ever since, that has been everything for me, or for the most part. So I did a full-time real estate, the nonprofit organization. I have my baking business. This I recently stepped out from, but I was the vice president of my ex-husband's construction company and a business adjunct professor. So as you see, it's been very, very busy for me over the last few years. Here you have a little bit about my realtor journey, and I won't go too much into it, but what I can say is that I remember that when I started this journey, people would tell me, well, why would you get into that when there's thousands of realtors? What makes you think that you're going to be successful? And at that moment, I'm like, man, should I really do this? Should I really give up my career in teaching? That's that stable income to do this full time. And honestly, it was the best decision that I could have ever made, but it was a risk. It was a tough. There was times where I didn't get paid, times that I don't have closings. So it has its cons, but it definitely has a lot of its pros. And I love helping people achieve their dreams, whether it's educational or homes. This is why I love real estate so much. Hey guys. Here you have a little bit of my work. Let's see if I can play it. Now, remember, I'm self taught. Don't judge me, but this is some of the work that I've done. I really haven't updated this video in the last probably 2, 3 years. But here you can see some of the cakes that I've done. I have gotten better. But this at one point became like my source of income. There was a time where I made more money baking cakes than I did teaching. So I found something that I was passionate about and turned it into a way to make money from it. Okay, so I'll stop it now. Here's a couple. Here I have more information of the nonprofit organization, but ultimately it's just me doing stuff in the community to help different families, to help students, and just to give mentoring and tutoring and coaching. This was the construction business that I helped start. And this was honestly, it started during COVID because at that time my ex-husband had lost his job and he went to school for construction. He got his bachelor's degree in construction management. And we decided to take a leap of faith and start our business. And to this day, this business is still growing. And then right now, I'm working as a business adjunct professor. I do teach about 2 to 3 classes per semester. I think this is going on my 4th or 5th year here at Valencia. I'm not too sure. But it's something that I do because I'm passionate about something that I love. I love getting to see students, hear their journey, talk to them, inspire them, motivate them. So this is definitely something that's dear to my heart. So, with all this being said, my final thoughts are, you know what? Education is attainable by everyone. If you have a vision, all you need to do is work, work, work hard. I remember that many times when I was in college, a lot of my friends are partying and having fun, and I'm here stuck with working 3 jobs and going to school. But guess what? When I graduated, when I got the good job, a lot of my friends were going back to school to get their education. So I wasn't able to party at that time, but I was able to party and live a better life later because I stayed focused. So always focus on that ultimate goal. Work hard now, party later. Don't give up. Use every setback that you have as an opportunity to keep going, and always surround yourself with positive and influential people. This is a big one for me. You never know how you guys can help each other. I can tell you that a lot of my customers for real estate has been friends of mine from high school. It has been friends of mine from college. It has been Valencia employees, Valencia professors. So it's just amazing how you never know how people can be so influential in your life and how you can network and partner with them. And one of the big things for me is creating a vision board. So every year I write down my goals and what I want to accomplish, kind of tweak it here and there because I do have goals that are like my 3 to 5 year plans, but that helps me keep my motivation. So days where you're stressed because you have a lot of work and you're tired of Miss Mertune because I'm giving too much work and you're annoyed with me, just think about that. You know what? This is temporarily. Eventually, this hard work will pay off. Okay, so guys, don't give up. So here's my story, why I'm so passionate about education and why I'm here today. So I hope this gives you a better picture of who I am. Just know that I'm always here if you guys have any questions, if you are going through any type of situation, you need the motivation, please remember my story. If I have been able to accomplish so many things, you guys can do it too.